Hey guys, it's me CriticalCubing, and Kian Mansour, the fastest user of the Roux method, recently set an hour average with the average time being 6.52 seconds. This puts him first in Canada, third in North America, and sixth in the world at the time of this upload. Today we shall see what Kian did in those solves and what we can learn from him. And before I start with the reconstructions, a huge thank you to TDM from the speedsolving forums for doing the reconstructions. Initially I was planning on doing it myself since I did not find any reconstructions, and suddenly I see that he did the reconstructions, which saved me some time and helped me make this video faster. So big thank you to TDM for doing the reconstructions, and the link to the reconstructions will be in the description. That being said, let's see what Kian did in his official 6.52 average. This was the first scramble, and in this scramble we have a couple obvious things for our blocks. We have this blue and orange edge connected with the blue center, which allows us to make white or yellow blue block with using this edge. We also have the DL edge connected with the center for the yellow and blue first block, and we also have this corner and edge pair which can be used for your white and green block. So these are the obvious things that you can see. And in the scramble, Kian did the white and blue first block. He made use of this blue and orange edge connected with the center, and the DL edge for our first block is back in here, and then the other corner which goes with this edge is on the U layer in here. This can go down to the D layer with U and R and sort of pair up with this edge, DL edge, and doing a D move makes a square in here. The other pair for your first block is this one, and with the U move this is moving here, and while you do your D move for matching this block with your square, you want to do a DU prime so that this, which will be in this position, comes back to this original position. And for solving this, you do wide R prime, U prime, normal R prime F, and your first block is done. Once you have planned the first block, it's time to plan the DR edge, and the DR edge is here, and with the UR, this DR edge is being put in here, and with the D move, the DR edge is going back in here, and with the wide R prime, U prime, R prime F, the DR is moving here with the wide on top. For solving the DR, you just have to do U to R2, and your first block in DR is solved. So that was your first block in DR solution, so let's get started. U, R, D, U prime, solves your first block square, last pair for your first block, R wide R prime, U prime, R prime F. First block solved, DR is here, and here you see that you already have the second block corner connected with your DR edge, and this usually is a good case, and you can sort of pure block build when you get cases like this. But the edge for this is back in here, which is a terrible spot, and flipping this and solving this is just going to take too many moves. And whenever you get cases like this where you have a good edge in corners case, but then the other edge is in a bad position, instead of focusing on this, you should just solve the other pair that you get. And the other pair, the corner is here, but you do not see the edge anywhere, so that means that the edge has to be in this back position since you do not see it in the visible view currently. And for getting around that, while he solved the DR, usually you would solve R2 completely for solving the DR or wide R2, but Kian here did a normal R and then wide R, which moves the stuck edges in this back slot to the front slot. And here is our pair for the second block, and this can be solved by doing U2, and then this is easy, wide R, U prime, wide R prime, like this. And the other case, which was previously bad, is now relatively good, and you can solve this by doing wide R prime, U, M prime, U prime, and then normal R. You want to keep the white or yellow center on the top, so instead of doing wide R, you just do a normal R, which keeps the white center on top. CMLL, like this, and the CML gives us the arrow case from the back. And a good thing about this arrow case is that this is a good arrow, so you have your LR, one of the LR edges in here, the blue, and you do not see the green anywhere in here, so orange, red, so that means that the green is at the back in here. And this is a good arrow since you can just do an M prime, and you can put your UL and UR edges on the D layer with one move like this. And your EO is also solved, so currently we have the orange center on top, so red, red, orange, everything is good, and your UL and UR edges are on the D layer. So now you just solve it normally, match the opposites like this, and 4C like this. So the LC in here was a bit lucky, and let us quickly recap this solve before moving on to the next scramble. This was the scramble, and out of all the first block options, the white and blue was the easiest. And the solution was finger tricky and could be solved really fast. Once you're done with your first block, you get this bad sort of second block case. But whenever you get bad cases like this, instead of focusing on the bad case, you should just solve the other case that you get. And you see the corner is here, but you do not see the edge anywhere in the plane view. That means the edge is stuck in the back. So while you're solving the DR, instead of just doing R2, and the edge just keeps on being stuck in this back slot, Kian did a normal R and then wide R, which forces the edge in the front slot. And then he solved this pair first, like this. And our previous bad first block case is relatively good now, and you solve it like this. CMLL, and the CML gives us a good LC, which is just M prime for EO, UL, and UR, and then you do M2, and for 4C you only have U, M prime. So the only thing non-standard about the solve was the lucky LC. Otherwise, the solve is pretty standard for Roux, and because of the lucky LC, the solve comes at 40 moves, and the TPS was 6.25. And 6.25 reminds me of something. Anyway, moving on to the next scramble. This is the next scramble, and this scramble also has a couple obvious things. So the first thing you see is this green and orange edge connected with the green center and orange center. So you can use that for both the first blocks in there. And you also have this edge connected with the red center. And Kian in the scramble did the white and red first block. The pieces for our first block are all in here in plain view. The DL edge is here, which can be put on the D layer with the M move, and this can go down to the D layer relative to the DL edge by doing U prime R prime. That creates the edge and corner block in here, and you already have the other part for this block already paired in here. D prime makes a square for you, and then the other pair for your first block is this one. And after doing the MU prime R prime D prime, the pair will be in here, and for solving this in this back position, you do M2 U prime or B prime, and your first block is solved. The DR edge is this one, the white and orange one, and after doing the initial M move, the DR comes in here, U prime R prime D prime, and then M2 does not affect this, U prime R, and then B prime does not affect this. So your DR will be here and ready to be inserted with R2 insert, and your first block in DR is that. So let's get solving. M, U prime R prime, corner edge pair, this in here, D prime makes your square. This is the other pair, M2 U prime or P prime. Your first block is done. The first thing you notice here is this pair in here, and this is a good pair, and you can also influence this while you solve the DR by doing R prime U R prime, which pairs this in the front like this, and then you do wide R U wide R prime. But before you do the wide R prime, here is the corner for the other second block case, and the edge for this corner is here. So instead of doing a wide R prime here, you want to keep this edge in this front slot, so you end with a normal R prime like this. And this corner case, the easiest setup for this from this angle would be just an M prime, U prime, and then this is a standard CFOP case. Like that, end with the wide R so that we have the white or yellow center on top, CMLL, and we again get the arrow case. And for solving the arrow case, you do U2, and your UL and UR edges are here. And you cannot do any influencing for the UL and UR edges here, and you have to just resort to straightforward LC solving. Like this, UL and UR are on the D layer, U prime, M2, UL and UR solved, 4C. Quickly recapping the scramble had a couple other options for first block. You could use both of these for orange and green blocks, but the problem is that neither of these blocks were good enough. The yellow and green had these terrible cases, and then white and green also had terrible cases, so green block was not a good option. The yellow and orange block was also not good because you have the stuck pair in here, and then this is just not worth it. And your white and orange also had troublesome cases, so again white and orange was also not good. By the process of elimination, you are left with the red block, and the yellow and red is not good because of these two corners cases, and the only obvious option remaining is the white and red. So during the inspection, you have to sort of be quick at dismissing other block cases so that you don't waste too much time thinking about what block to do and what block not to do. And in the scramble, out of all of these options, the white and red was the best option, and Kian took advantage of that and figured this all out within 15 seconds. So you have to know what sort of first block cases work and what sort of first block cases do not work. And while you're solving the first block, you should be looking ahead to your next pieces, which were these two in here. And a cool thing here is that instead of pairing up like this and then inserting right, you can also from this angle do R prime, U, M prime, U, R prime, and your pair is solved. And this, in my opinion, is much more easier to do than doing that. And while you're solving this pair, you should be looking ahead to your next pair, so you know that the corner is here and the edge is here. And while he was solving this pair, he influenced his next pair and ended with a normal R prime instead of white R prime, which gives us a bad case. And with the normal R prime, we still have a good enough case and we can work with this. So be on lookout for your edges and how you can influence them, which will help prevent bad cases. Once this first block was done, CML was just U prime, F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime, and LC was pretty standard. This is the next scramble, and again we have a couple of obvious first block choices. We have this orange edge connected with the orange center, this green edge connected with the green center. We have the DL edge already solved in its proper place, and we also have another DL edge solved in its proper place. Out of all these first block options, Kian here did the white and green first block. We already have this edge connected with the center in here, and the DL edge is here, and then this corner can go down with the DL edge with one move like this. D2 is the only thing you need to do to create the square in here. And the other pair for your first block is this one. And Kian here, instead of just tracking where this goes, he manipulated this corner so as to set up a better case. Here we already know that we have to do a B move for inserting this corner with your DL edge in here, right? So instead of doing B move and then putting the corner in here, and then D2 moves the case in here, which is sort of bad and you cannot do much about the case from this angle, Kian here did a U move so as to keep the corner in here, and the moment you do the B move, the corner still stays in this position, but instead of the white being on the top, the white will be on the side. And this is actually a good case because the green sticker will be on the U layer, and then this is going to go in here with the D2 move. Solving this, you can do R2, U, white R, U, R prime B, and your first block is solved. With that being said, let us solve the first block. U, B solves here, this is here, D2, R2, U prime, R, U, R prime, B. Your first block is solved, DR stays in here, and all of our second block cases are in plain sight. You have this case in here and this case in here, and generally in second block, white on top cases are not really that good. So while you're solving DR, usually you try to influence this white on top cases. And for influencing this white on top case, instead of just inserting the DR with an R2 move, Kian here did R, U prime, R, which puts the white on the side, and we have a better case now. For solving this, you just do an M move, keep the edge at the back, and then this is an insert in the back slot, U prime, white R prime, U, white R. And for your next pair, the edge is here and the corner in here. And again, white on top is not really that good. So Kian again converted this white on top into a white on side case by doing R, U, R prime. So now we have a white on side case. And this is an easy setup similar to this back slot. Well, actually it's a mirror of this back slot. And you do U, white R, U prime, and end with a normal R prime so as to keep the white center on top. And then we have CML like this, and here we have two flip case, one is here, one is at the back, and both of our LR edges is here, and we can solve them both simultaneously by doing M prime, U, M prime like this. So one is here, U2, M, U, M prime, keeps it at the back, and you have this here, M, U2, M prime, and then you get this M2, U2, M2 case, and your LC is solved. This scramble, there were again lots of options for your first block, but Kian here went for this green block, which is this one move pair in here, and then second move square. But instead of just solving whatever case he got next, he influenced his case so he could set up better case. Once he was at the second block, again, instead of solving whatever case he got next, he influenced his cases so he could set up better cases that he liked solving. And since we usually do not like solving white on top cases, he converted this white on top to a white on side, and then set up into an easy back insert like this. And similarly, we have another pair in here, and he did the same thing to this pair as well. Instead of solving it something like this, CFOP style, he again converted this white on top to white on side case like this, and set up an easy insert like this. The entire blocks for the solution was really interesting. Simple influencing gave him better second block cases instead of just solving whatever he got next. CMLL and LC is pretty standard EOLR. Instead of solving with M prime, U, M prime, and then solving this case, you can also alternatively solve by doing U, M prime, U prime, M prime, which gives the green in front and blue at the back, M, U, M prime, like this, and then 4C. Kian's solution is one move efficient since you do not need to do the initial U, AUF, but otherwise it's good to know the other solution as well. This is the next scramble, and the only thing you see right off the bat is this edge connected with the center, and there isn't anything obvious in the scramble. So we have to work with this, and this orange block can be made with either white on bottom or yellow on bottom, and the yellow on bottom is actually very bad because we have the stuck corner and edge case which you don't want to solve. So the only option remaining is the white and orange block, and the white and orange is actually not too shabby. This corner and this edge can be put together by doing U prime, R prime, F2, and you can make your square by doing D2. But if you do this normally, then you get this very bad case for your other pair for the first block, which you want to avoid since it takes lots of moves to solve. So instead of doing normal R prime, what you can do here is you can do U prime, white R prime, and then F2, which will move this edge in here, and R prime is going to put this here, and F2 is going to put this here again, but then the edge will be flipped, and the corner is going here, R prime, and then F2 is going to put this corner in here, and with the final D2, this corner is going back in here. So this can be paired by doing M, R, and then F, and your first block is done. So the first block is not too shabby, but it's also not the best block that you can get either. But you have to take what you get, and if you get these first block cases to work with, then you just have to find a way to work with these cases. And the DR for this is here, and then R prime F2 is just going to put this here. And finally, for finishing your first block, you are doing an R, M, and then F, and then R is just going to put this DR back from this position to this position. So the DR is just going to stay in this position. For your first block, U prime, R prime, F2, corner here, edge here, and these two are paired in here. D2 solves your square for the first block. M, R pairs up this last remaining pair for your first block. F, like that. And your DR did not move, and it is in the position that we predicted. Now for the second block, an interesting thing to note here is that Kian did something different, which many people might not see. So when we get this edge case for your second block, we usually just take this to the U layer, flip and insert. But instead of doing that, Kian did of course flip this edge and insert it into the correct DR position. However, he also influenced a pair for his second block. So what Kian did here, he took this edge out with the R prime like this. And now we see that we have a corner in here, and the edge for this corner is back in here. So if we were to do an wide R prime, then this corner is sort of distorting, and you don't want that. So instead of doing wide R, Kian did M prime like this. And now while we insert this, we can pair up these two by doing U, R, U prime. You influence this corner and edge pair, and while you are inserting DR, you also pair up this. So the moment your DR is inserted, you have one pair ready for insertion. And this is an easy insert at the back, U prime, R prime, U. And here Kian ended with a wide R so as to influence this edge, because if you were to end with a normal R, then this case is just useless and you have to do an M prime for solving this case anyway. So might as well just end with a wide R, which does the M prime move for U, and this is again a 2-gen case, R, U2, R prime, U, R, U prime, and end with a wide R prime, so as to get the yellow center on top. CMLL, like this, and we get the arrow case, and the UL and UR are on the D layers, and you cannot do much about this arrow case apart from just straightforwardly solving it. M, U prime, M prime, solves the UL and UR, and solves your 4C. Let's quickly recap. You have a center and edge pair in here, and you can make a corner and edge pair here by doing U prime R prime F2, but doing U prime R prime F2 gives you a bad case for the remaining first block pair. Instead of solving the bad first block case, Kian did a simple influencing, which is basically inserting with wide R move instead of a normal R prime. And doing so, he set up a better first block case for his last pair, which is just this, and your first block is solved. For the second block, instead of solving it straightforwardly, he again influenced his first pair. So instead of doing something like just solve the DR like this and then solve the pairs, Kian here saw that he could influence his first pair like this, and instead of doing wide R in here, he did an M prime, U, R, U prime R, paired his first pair, and while inserting, he ended with a wide R so as to influence this edge, which again sets up his next second block case. Like this, CMLL, and then LC is just straightforward LC. Nothing out of the ordinary. This scramble shows how you can take advantage of influencing not only during your first block but also during your second block so as to set up better cases instead of just solving what you get. This is the last scramble, and in this scramble we again do not see anything obvious like edge connected to the center or anything of that sort. We do have this DL piece lined up correctly with the center, but then the yellow and red block is not that good. And as such, when you get scrambles like this, you have to get a bit creative with the solution, and you have to find out easy pairs that you can solve first and efficiently, and then try to influence your next pair. Kian in this scramble did the white and orange first block, and the white and orange first block has this easy pair, this one, and you can move this DL to its proper position by doing a D prime, and then these two can be solved in this front by doing M, which keeps the edge in this position in here. Then U R prime F will solve your square for the first block, and with U R prime F, this is moving here, and then F is just putting them in here, and this is a good pair because you can just do U R B and your first block is solved. And your DR for the scramble is here, and the DR is being moved by the R prime F that you do, and the R prime F is going to put this DR in this position, and then you solve this pair, which is just U puts the DR in here, R wide R puts the DR in this back position, and then you do a final B move, which is just moving this DR from this position to this position with the white facing this side, and you can insert the DR with a single R move, and your first block and DR is solved just like that. So yeah, let's get solving. D prime inserts the DL, M U R prime F solves your square for you, and then you have this pair U R B solves your first block, and you have the DR in this position. And instead of inserting the DR normally, you can influence this pair because we have white on top, and white on top does not generally have good cases, and as such you want to influence this when you insert your DR. So instead of just doing R in here, you can do U2 and then R, which converts this white on top to a white on side case, and now you have something to work with. This is an easy pair, just hide the edge, move the corner, unhide the edge, and you have a pair ready for insertion, wide R, U wide R prime. And here you want to end with a wide R prime and not a normal R prime like this. For solving this, you have to hide the edge, move the corner, and then unhide the edge. So might as well influence this when you get the opportunity to do so, like this. So now this, move the corner, unhide the edge like this, sets it up into a 3-move insert, R prime, U prime, and then end with a wide R so as to keep the white center on the U layer. CMLL. And Kian here predicted what LC case he was getting, and as such he cancelled into his LC by ending with a wide R prime, U, M prime. and that gives him the arrow case. And if he were to not do this cancellation, then we have this true flip case, which you can solve from this angle by doing mu m prime, and you get the same arrow case. But Kian just cancelled into his LLC during the last move of the CMLL, which gives better transition into LLC than just solving it normally and then doing LLC. So to quickly recap, you do not have anything obvious in a scramble, so you have to get a bit creative with a solution. And in a scramble you have an easy pair, so you try to build something around that. And when you solve the easy pair, you also sort of influence the other pair into one of the easier cases to solve, which solves your first block efficiently. And then you have the DR in here, and instead of just solving the DR normally, you influence the second block case so that you can set up better cases instead of just solving whatever case you get. And here, instead of ending like this, keeping the edge on the U layer, you keep the edge on the D layer, and then set this up into a 3-move insert, R prime, U prime, and then end with white R so as to keep the white center on top. CMLL, and cancel into LLC. During CMLL, try to predict what sort of LLC case you are getting, and if you can cancel into LLC, just do that, or otherwise you can finish your CMLL algorithm normally and then start solving LLC as you would do normally. So those were the scrambles that Kian got and the solutions that Kian did, which gave rise to his 6.52 official average. A huge congratulations to Kian Mansour for achieving this feat, and I'm actually happy from the bottom of my heart that he's showcasing the power of the Roux method and that he finally was able to overcome his competition nerves. And a fun thing to note about these solves is that the average TPS comes at around 6.9 TPS to 7 TPS, which is not even that fast compared to CFOP solvers. It goes to show that even though you are turning a bit slower compared to other world-class solvers, you can still achieve the same time if you're efficient with your solutions. So congratulations to Kian, and yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Take care guys, and bye.